Good day, everyone. We are the third group, and we are here to present our report for the subject Gender in Society. And our topic is Gender Relations during the American Period. So, now let's proceed to the introduction. So, first of all, the American Colonial Period in the Philippines ay nagsimula noong 1898 hanggang 1946. So, mahigit 300 years na tayong sinakop. So, ang pagpasok ng mga Amerikano sa Pilipinas ay nagdala ng malaking changes sa ating bansa. Isa sa mga pinakamalaking contribution nila is yung pagpapakilala o pag-introduce natin ng democracy, ng equality at ng public education na hindi lang para sa mga lalaki. So, para sa lahat na siya for both boys and girls. Kung i-compare natin sa Spanish period, mas naging open yung mga Amerikano para sa kababaihan. So, doon kasi sa Spanish period, limitado lang yung role ng mga babae. So, palagi lang sila nasa bahay, sa simbahan. Pero under ng American colonial period, na buksan sila o nabigyan ng opportunity yung mga kababaihan na makapag-aral, makapasok sa mga profesyon tulad ng pagtuturo, ng nursing, at maski maging bahagi ng samahang panlipunan o mga political. So dito nagsimula na tawagin na yung mga Pilipina na modern Filipina. So dito na sila naging educated, may boses na sa lipunan, at may kakayahan na kumilos sa labas ng tahanan.
Education and women's empowerment. So I'll discuss how education during American period empowered Filipino women. When American introduced a pre-public school system, it opened equal opportunities for girls to study, which transformed their roles in society and also paved the way for the rise of the modern Filipina. During the American period in the Philippines, on 1898 to 1946, education became a powerful tool for transforming society, especially for women. The Americans established a public school system that was free, compulsory, and also accessible to all, breaking the barriers that limited learning to the wealthy or the elite during the Spanish era. For the first time in the Philippine history, girls were given equal educational opportunities as boys. This was a major shift because during the Spanish period, women's education was largely confined to basic religious instruction or a domestic skills. So, under the American system, women could study science, literature, mathematics, and other academic subjects on the same level as men. As a result, Filipinas began to excel in professional courses such as teaching, nursing, pharmacy, and even law and medicine. This period saw the rise of the women educators, professionals, and leaders who actively participated in nation building. Many became scholars and government workers, proving their competence beyond household roles. The emergence of the modern Filipina symbolizes this transformation. Educated, confident, and career-oriented, these women challenged traditional expectation and proved that they could compete with men in academics, professions, and public service. Organization and women's group also started to form, advocating for women rights, suffrage, and equality, movement that were fueled by greater access to education. In essence, American education not only uplifted literacy and skills, but also empowered Filipino women to break societal barriers, laying the groundwork for gender equality and active participation in shaping the nation.
So now let's proceed to the politics, law, and civic involvement during the American colonial period. So first of all, the Filipino men dominated the political positions under the American system of governance, and women found influence through civic organizations, religious groups, and reform movements. So sa panahon ng mga Amerikano or during the American colonial period, karamihan sa mga posisyon sa gobyerno or sa politics ay hawak pa rin ng mga kalalakihan. Sila kasi yung mga nakikitang leader ng bayan at sila rin yung nagde-direct sa lipunan. Pero kahit ganun pa man, malaki pa rin yung papel ng mga women sa pamahalaan. Hindi ibig sabihin na dominant yung position ng mga lalaki sa government ay wala na silang contribution. So mga babae noon ay naging aktibo civic organizations, religious groups, and reform movements, or iba't ibang samahang panlipunan. Dito nila pinapakita na kaya rin nilang mag-contribute sa lipunan. So, isa sa mga pinakamahalagang movement o kilusan ng mga kababaihan noong panahon ay yung suffrage movement o yung pakikibaka para sa karapatang bumoto. Sa loob kasi ng maraming taon, ang mga Pilipina ay hindi napapakinggan yung mga panig nila. So, noong 1937, sa isang plebisito, nakuha ng mga kababaihan ang karapatang bumoto matapos iboto ng mahigit 400,000 na mga babae ang yes para sa suffrage o yung ito nga yung karapatan nila para bumoto. Isa ito sa pinakamalaking naging tagumpay ng mga kababaihan dahil ipinakita nila na mahalaga yung papel ng mga babae sa demokrasya. Dito sa punto na to masasabi natin na nag-benefit din yung American colonial period para sa kababaihan sa ating bansa.
So, good day everyone. Today I will discuss family life and social relations during the American period. So, we will talk about or we'll explore how Filipino families were structured, the roles of men and women, social expectations, and the influence of American liberal values on daily life. So, for the first slide, during the American period, Filipino families were still patriarchal, meaning the father was the head of the family, making important decisions and representing the family in society. Families were considered the basic social unit as well, which meant that family life shaped much of a person's identity and responsibilities. Extended family ties were also important. For example, grandparents, uncles, aunts, and cousins often lived together or nearby, creating strong support systems. Lastly, respect for elders and close kinship bonds. So, uh, respectful elders and close kinship bonds were central to Filipino social life. Children were expected to obey and care for their parents and older relatives to reinforce the family solidarity. So, role of women. So, women's role began to shift during this period, mainly because of increased access to education. Public schools and universities opened opportunities for girls, which allowed them to pursue professions like teaching, nursing, or clerical work. With education and employment, women gained more influence in family decisions, such as managing finances or children's education. At the same time, they still had to fulfill traditional roles, being mothers, homemakers, and moral guides for their children. This period was about balancing traditional expectations with the emerging opportunities of modern life. Social expectations for men. So, men were expected to be leaders, not just in their families, but also in politics and community affairs. They were the public face of authority, making decisions for the family and sometimes for the community. Economically, men were seen as the primary providers, responsible for ensuring that the family needs were met. This reflected the patriarchal view that men's responsibilities were outside the home while women's were inside. Social expectations for women. So, women were expected to maintain virtue and morality, following the ideals of modesty, often referred to as the Maria Clara ideal, which emphasized purity, humility, and respect. They were also responsible for motherhood and homemaking, which included raising children and managing household duties. As moral guardians of the family, women shaped the values and behavior of the next generation, ensuring that Filipino traditions and honor were preserved. Lastly, influence of American liberal values. So the American period brought Western style social changes. Dating and courtship become more open compared to the strict customs of the Spanish period. Chaperone dates, social gatherings, and youth clubs became popular, giving men and women more opportunities to interact. Women became increasingly visible in public life, working in education, healthcare, and office jobs. Yet they still had to balance these modern roles with traditional expectations at home. Overall, American liberal values encourage a blend of modernity and tradition, changing how families and society view gender roles and social interaction.
So, as we conclude our report, it is important to revisit the lessons learned from the American period. So, in conclusion, this era was truly a crucial turning point in gender relations in the Philippines. Because, in contrast to the Spanish period where the roles of women were limited, the Americans introduced new concepts of democracy, education, and modernization that profoundly affected society. And among these changes, education became a major factor that gave women a voice and freedom. The establishments of the free public school systems paved the way for the girls to study, to become professionals, and participate in public. This period saw the rise of the modern Filipina, an educated woman ready to compete in fields that were previously exclusive to men. Despite all the changes, it is important to recognize that traditional beliefs did not immediately disappear. Like, the patriarchal structure of the family remained strong, and women were still expected to balance their new professions with their traditional roles as mothers and homemakers, while men, they still dominated politics and high-ranking business positions. And this period showcased a complex situation, like a bridge between the past and the future, where progress didn't mean a complete abandonment of tradition. Ultimately, the achievement of women's suffrage in 1937 was the culmination of their struggle and a clear symbol of their progress. And it wasn't just a simple change in the law, but proof that women have a vital role in shaping the future of our nation. The achievements of the American period laid a strong foundation for the next generations of Filipino women who continue to strive for full gender equality.